Good evening, everyone. First thing first, is my voice audible and the screen visible? Is it audible? Yes, okay, good. So today I will start with one thing that is called work culture, utilization of public funds, challenges with corruption, right? What is work culture? How do you promote it? Now, before that, what I have written here is what are the ethics that one should show in workplace? That is the thing. That is security, secularity, right? And then integrity, promoting confidentiality, promoting fraternity, enviousness among the employees, credibility, fidelity, and transparency, punctuality. These are the major components that is required at a workplace, right? You should ensure that there is secular work culture. There should not be any communal feeling when you are working. Then there should be integrity. I said that integrity, professional integrity, complete integrity, right? And intellectual integrity. Promoting confidentiality. You should promote confidentiality. That I said in CSS rules also. Promoting brotherhood, right? Enviousness among the employees. You should ensure that there is credibility in your work and fidelity is required, right? And then transparency and punctuality. This I have written. You should possess empathy and you should not succumb to pressure. Treat all customers equally. There should be foolproof mechanism to measure the performance of individuals. Whenever you are giving some review about your subordinates, there should be some foolproof mechanism to review how they have performed and no one is left behind that performance scale, right? That is how you have to mention. Now, how you can improve work culture? By using technology that is called biometrics, then constant revivals, reviews, and regular appraisals, strict accountability. Organizational vision is more important than individual preference. For example, if a co-employee is professionally competent but he is behaving abnormally with the co-employees, like sexual abuse at workplace, then individual performance doesn't matter in that case. It is organizational values which are more important. Even though if he is performing very better, then there is nothing wrong in removing the employee, because organizational values are more important than the individual performance. For example, recent example in Indian cricket, what has happened? There was a tussle between Virat Kohli and Rohit Sharma, right, for the captaincy. There was no direct fight, but Virat Kohli has come and he has said that BCCI didn't inform him when they are changing the captaincy. Now, when BCCI was asked, BCCI said that the same statement, irrespective of the players, the game is more important, and the game is more important than any individual players. You may be a good player, but you have to follow some rules whenever you are in the team. That is what BCCI made it clear, and sports minister also made it very clear on that line. The game is important, or it is above the individuals, right? So the same thing applies in any organization. The duty of a leader of an organization is promoted the goals of national interest than the others. Then in this work culture, you have one moral philosopher known as Needs, Friedrich Needs. Now he has given a concept called master morality and slave morality. There will be two types of persons who will be working in the organization. One is master morality, that is the morality of higher order. You will have pride, you will have courage, just like a master. If you are leading some team, you'll be having that master morality. If you are a slave, you should have humbleness. These two things are very important. As a master, you should possess master morality. As a slave, as a public servant, you should have humbleness, that is slave morality. Together, it forms the best work culture. An individual in the work should maintain both. That is the thing. So this is what I have written. I have not written this in detail. Rather, it is good in this book. One of my friend has sent it. Look at this. Work culture. What is the definition of work culture? Work culture of an organization represents the collective values of an organization. Work culture means collective values, collective beliefs, collective principles of an organization and employees towards each other and to the external stakeholder. By heart this because there is one topic called work culture in the syllabus. By heart the definition itself. It is the collective values, collective beliefs, collective principles that an organization has or that the employees in the organization has towards each other and towards the external stakeholders. Right? Now, what are those work culture values? If there is no recognition to good worker, right? If the work culture is very negligent, or work culture means it is very negligent work culture. These are all negative work cultures. Delay tactics, okay, it will go on, right? No sympathy towards customers, lack of will to adapt new technologies, rule bound, passing the buck, right? Office politics, sense of ownership is lacking. So these are something which are negative work cultures. If your organization is with these values, then definitely your organization is going to fail. Rather than what you should have is positive work culture. What are those positive work cultures? Good companionship, right? You should recognize the other's talents. You should recognize or you should give the good recognition to others' contributions, right? You should have empathy towards the customers, right? Customer should be given priority. Now, there should not be hierarchy. Everyone should be treated equally, and you should give priority even to the lowest person to express his views. That is called non-hierarchical, and it should be not rule bounded. That hierarchy organization should go in this way. I have to listen only to my subordinates. No, I can listen to anyone, or the subordinates can even share their feelings, or even they can share their opinions about the organization. Taking responsibility and adaptability, these are positive work cultures. If you are inculcating that, then the organization is going to be ethical, or organization is going to function with good work culture. Right? Now, what you have to maintain, this is the difference between principles and process. Principles is always follow the rules. Process is it is long, drawn and slow. Follow the process. It is very slow, right? Follow the principles. You will be following the rules. So if you leave it, not necessary here, but at least you remember this. What are the positive work cultures? This is important. Definition of work culture. What are the positive aspects of a work culture? Now look at this. Employee to employee relationship has to be there. Employee to management, employee to customer. There are three persons, right? If you are working in an organization, how you behave with the co-employee, how you behave with the management, how you behave with the customer. This is how work culture is all about, right? In this, you have to have companionship, you have to have empathy towards the organization, towards the customer, and then you should ensure that organization priority is the most important thing than your individual priority, right? You should be ever ready to take risks. That should be the thing. Work culture of private, work culture of government office. We say that government offices are not functioning very well. Why? These are the reasons. Look at the work culture of private institutions compared to government institutions. Private institutions, majority of them, they give focus on innovation, where their government offices, they lack innovation, right? Majority, I am not saying all 100%, but majority of them. Next, private are very flexible to the employees. If you want to work from home, you can work, right? If you want to go on leave, if you complete the work in time, you can go, right? Whereas there is no such thing called flexibility in the government office. You have to go by morning 9 o'clock, 9:30 you can go, and after 5 o'clock, at 5 o'clock you have to return. Whether you have work or whether you don't have work, if the clock strikes 5 o'clock, you will leave. Otherwise, you will not leave. That is the thing. Next. Next, open communication between the employee and the head boss. Employee and employer relationship will be there. But here, the power distance exists between a peon and the head, right? This is the difference. So, Tatas treat their employees as their family members, right? That is why Tatas flourish. Employee-centric, recognition of a worker, client satisfaction, emphasis on efficiency. So these are the traits that private institutions have, and then because of this work culture, there is efficiency in the organization. That is the reason why private organizations thrive so successfully compared to your government organizations, where there will be no recognition to the good worker. The promotion will be based on your experience or your age rather than your work. So that is the difference between the work culture of a private institution and a government office. Now let's look at this factors influencing the work culture. What I said, the definition of work culture, negative aspects of work culture, positive aspects of work culture, and how work culture is there in the private institutions and how it is there in the government institutions. Now the next aspect is how factors that contribute to the work culture. First thing is, it depends upon the individual himself, right? How he is working in an organization, whether he has some team spirit, or how his attitude is, whether he is promoting the others or whether he is self-constrained. So that depends upon the individual himself. And in government office, the attitude of senior leadership determines the work culture of organization. In private, it depends upon starting with the individual. So both, whether it is individual, government or private, it starts at the individual. Individual has to be optimistic he should have team spirit. Then only work culture will develop. In the government offices, attitude of senior leadership is going to determine the majority of the work culture. Even though if you are very energetic, but if you are not in the correct position, your innovation will not be recognized in government offices. Hence, the work culture, you cannot change it. But in private organizations, as you can communicate very freely, your views will be heard. So that is the thing. So the first thing is about the attitude of the employee. The second one is the objectives or the aims of the government office itself. With what values or with what objectives that the organization is running on, that determines the work culture. For example, or aims, Tata's, they say that if you have looked at today's newspaper, Tata's CEO, he has said that we are focusing on energy. In the coming days, we are focusing on digital technology and we are focusing on clean energy. And he said that 5G connectivity we are focusing on. And he said that during the times of COVID-19, we work together and we have to continue to face any type of pandemics in future. So he has addressed all the 8 lakh employees of Tata's yesterday, and that was carried in today's newspaper. If you see that, that is called the leadership. That is called building positive attitude in the employees. So the aims were clearly defined by the management, the head itself, and then they said that we are going to have in the next 5 years or in the next 6 years, we are going to focus on the so-called these values, right? That is the thing. So that is the second thing, aims and objectives. And the third thing is how the management is organized, right? If the management is democratic manner, if the management is in a democratic manner, if they are open to the views of others, then definitely the work culture will be fine. Otherwise, if he is a monarch, if the CEO himself is a monarch, then there will be no good work culture, or you find authoritative work culture. Next one is national culture. How government looks at various things also influence the work culture of an organization. For example, if the government lays strict guidelines on sexual harassment at workplace, definitely the work culture should have strict guidelines. So government's culture or the national culture, government's laws determines your work culture. For example, if government is strict on sexual harassment act, if they are very strict on improving the maternity or improving the so-called work facilities, workers facilities in their organization, then they will do it. If the government is very strict on implementing the so-called CSR rules, then they have to do it, right? So how the nation culture, how the government culture is towards the organizations, then that is also going to determine your work culture. Now, work of the organization, how the organization is working. For example, whether it is competing with each other or whether it is respecting others people's views, then definitely work culture is going to improve. For example, overwork makes people separate from the family, right? So people will organize family day celebrations in private institutions, right? If family members are dissatisfied or if they are infected with COVID-19, they are not available to look after because of high work, especially in the startup companies. This is how family values get distracted. So work of organization, the work should be shared or it should be equitable. When someone is facing some trouble, other people have to come and they should share the workload, right? There was one case study on this previous case, right? So this is how the work culture depends. In Japan, people look at their work from the perspective of we are contributing to national development, hence we should also soon look at that. So what I said, what are the factors that are influencing the work culture? The factors are, first one is it depends upon the individual himself, right? The second one is it depends upon the aims and the objectives of the organization. It depends upon how the management is there. It depends upon how the national laws are implemented. It depends upon how the load of the work is shared, right? This is how work of the organization is going to define. Just remember, it starts at the individual, then it speaks about the organization objectives, goals, and then it speaks about the management. Once this is done, you have to think about how government laws are going to influence your work culture and how this work is going to impact the family members. If family members are taken care, then obviously people will develop interest in working with such organization, right? So work culture develops in that way. How does work culture affect the performance of organization? All the positives you can write. It promotes develop discipline and punctuality, right? It develops healthy competition. It promotes inclusivity and it attracts the best talent, right? You learn from others, better productivity. You can write all the things. No need to study here. Think of it whenever there is work culture, how it is going to benefit the individual first, how it is going to get benefit the organization at large, right? Say for example, if you are promoting nepotism, favoritism, or not partisanship whenever you are working, then definitely the talented people will get disheartened and they will get demotivated from working hard. Are ఎంత పని చేసినా కూడా recognize చేయలేదు, why should we work hard, right? That will be the mentality of the people if you are showing nepotism in your work culture. Hence there should not be any nepotism. Hence you can write this example. Benefits, you can write anything, guys. Think just what are the benefits of this good work culture. How to create good work culture? First one is you promote transparency in decision making. You promote the relationship between employees and the management, and be open to criticism, be tolerant to others' opinions. Next, whenever someone is performing best, recognize them and reward them. Don't say that you are not performing, the entire credit should be given to me, right? Next, if there are habitual offenders, don't leave them, right? You have to take action on the habitual offenders. Then only there will be discipline in the organization, right? For example, if someone is coming late regularly, 1 day, 2 days, it is fine, 3 days, it is fine. But if it is a continuing thing, then it gets impacted the work culture. Other people will follow the suit, right? So what you have to do is you have to take immediate action on habitual offenders, right? If someone is not completing their work in time and leaving before, you have to make them to complete the work in time. If someone is not respecting the team members, you should take action, right? If someone is doing some sexual harassment, you should take immediate action, right? This is the thing. So strict actions on the habitual offenders is very, very important. And then you should train your employees regularly, constantly, right? Training should be a part of your growth, and it should be not just in the initial stages when you enter into the employment, but it should be like a lifelong career development, right? And then develop some friendly policies such as maternity leaves, paternity leaves. If person not well, then you give him the flexibility to from work from home or share the workload from for others, right? For example, you can write the example of Abdul Kalam here, right? One of his employee, he asked for leave in the evening, but he forgot in his work. Abdul Kalam visited and he has taken that employee's child to the so-called exhibition or whatever it is, market, right? So this shows that they are very, very empathetic towards the employees. Now be tolerant, encourage discussions at workplace, right? You encourage discussions at workplace, right? Strengthen the team culture, build trust between the employment and management. It strengthens the team culture and it builds trust and employees. Next, team building activities such as sports, cultural activities, cutting cake if there is someone who is having birthday, right? These things you can do it. 360 degrees evaluation systems, right? You can write all these things. So the most important things to promote is, first one is ensure that there is transparency. The second thing is reward the best performers, punish the habitual offenders, always have training programs, and then deploy friendly policies and encourage discussions on tolerance among the people along with team building activities. This I said already, difference between private and public work culture. In public sphere, you will have inefficiency, you will have lack of productivity, lack of inclusive growth, red tapeism, hierarchy, absenteeism, unfriendly, relaxed, lack of discipline, rule based. I was attending one professor's class the other day to a seminar. He was telling in India, it is not only public offices which are inefficient, even the private organizations are equally inefficient, just like public organizations. He said that in India, private institutions, though it appears that private institutions are performing efficiently, but they are not performing efficiently. They do not have innovationness. All the problems that are plaguing in the public sector, you find even in the private sector. So this is what he said. Yes, that is also correct, right? Look at the private sectors. You'll go in the morning, you'll come at night, you will be not knowing what you are doing, right? This is the thing. And then they said, why? What are the reasons for failure of public sector in India? Because poor work culture. Why poor work culture? You can write. Government is meddling into the affairs, right? Promotions are fixed, right? No sensitivization to improve. Now then lack of competition is there, not owing to the organization. All the problems, you can write many problems of public organizations. Not only public organizations in India, even the private organizations are also working without ethics or without efficiency, right? Examples that they have given: ISRO launch failed, chief of ISRO took the entire blame on himself, right? You can give it, this is said by Abdul Kalam, his boss has done this. Next, Prime Minister Modi, when this Chandrayaan 2 mission was failed, he has given a pat on the back of ISRO's chief. Again, this is a contrary, this is something controversy, whether ISRO chief can cry or not, right? Being in such a position, can he cry or not? Then whatever it is, but still Prime Minister has given his compassion towards that person. MS Dhoni, after winning the World Cup, he has given the World Cup to the young players, and he was standing at the backside. So these are the examples, right? You can write how to improve work culture in